Done Space Couch live with an audience, so I hope we don't screw it up. We're just going to do the Space Couch intro here. This is what it looks like to me. I don't really have the music on when I'm doing this from space. Actually, it cost me billions of dollars to charter a shuttle down here from the Oort cloud. So I got, holy crap, some amazing guests here. This is possibly the biggest episode of Space Couch ever, based on juice. This Space Couch intro goes on for longer than it feels like because I have to hit share on the stupid. Yeah, I should probably actually do that. That's all right. We're good. David Kulchin says, "Oh, okay, sick. All right." And oh, hi and ho! Okay, this is awesome. Welcome to Space Couch, live from MECHANISMUS. Hi, Sam. All right, so Samael says nice on Twitch. You also know what's nice is our advertiser. We got a brand new one for this episode. These guys, they send me their swag. They never stop fucking sending me shit. So, we're just going to plug our new sponsor, Tiger Squawk Records. You want to check out, of course, Lamentations from Same Story out of Richmond, Virginia. Then you want to go check out Eterna's Memoria, 84 tracks, Leather Strip, Assemblage 23. Many bands you'll see here. Italy out of Australia with the Sad Girls Club Volume 6. It's incredible. Nightsicles, that's me, and Nightstop out of Finland. I think it's really great. You also want to check out Doodad from Victoria, BC's Duckbag TM, he changed his name. Amalgamated Cadaver, that's me, and definitely D. He used to play the shopping cart in Terrorfact, if you remember that. Grasp Logic, I think he's here actually, just has a new single. Landscape Body Machine, used to play keyboards in FLA, new single from that dude. The Gothsicles just played Ireland, wrote a new song about it. You can get that for free. And Dr. Lovecraft's Dating Sim, this crazy project out of Canada, check that out. Distortion, you guys like Distortion versus Tiger Squawk, that goes to benefit the Ukraine. And a new noise album from Italy, that is Tiger Squawk. Thanks to our advertisers. I am so pumped to talk to today's guest. We're just going to get right into it. Holy crap, to my left, I screwed that up. To my right, your left, Curse MACKEY, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get right into it. Obviously, we have thousands of facets we could cover. So, difficult place to start. I will just start the bidding at Lacerations, which came out in October of 2021. Let's take a little bit of a listen to... Love it. I love it. So good. Yeah, fuck her way through the apocalypse. That was... the harmonization here. There you go. Speaking of the apocalypse, is it just me, or does Crunchpod look like the gang from a Joel Schumacher Batman movie? Stole that line. So, back to the matter at hand. Lacerations, that's the shit. Tell us about what we just heard.
Well, Lacerations is basically the first song on it's the first single or exposure of my forthcoming record, which will come out in September, called Immoral Emporium. So that's the follow-up to Instant Exorcism. So just during the long extended vacation that we all were subjected to, much like the Crunchpod guys were saying, that you sort of reevaluate the way you spend your time and what you do. But for me, I just went down this real deep dive working with Chase Dobson, who co-produces a lot of my material with me, real good friend of mine, and then Justin McGrath also, who works with he's out with 9 Inch Nails right now.
Never heard of him.
They're keep an eye out.
All right,
they're doing some stuff. But so Justin and we just were doing like these sort of like modular jams and sending some stuff around, and then after I amassed like this 30-minute jam, I went through and just picked out the best loops, and then basically assembled the arrangement of that song.
It was already in this,
yeah. That's right, and I do view it that a lot of times when I'm working, is trying to sculpt this 30-minute noise piece or whatever exploration down into 4 minutes. So with Lacerations, we basically just came up with the original version and then did like a series of exploded views, if you will, where we each did our own remix and broke it down more. So Lacerations is like an EP with 5 tracks of like 25 minutes of this thing, as well as a remix of my song "Oh Blasphemy" that Twin Tribes did. And then also there's Stephen Olaf did a remix of Dystopian Death.
Hell yeah!
And so that's the EP of Lacerations, and that's basically the Band-Aid that I put between my last album and the one that'll be coming out in a couple of months.
Fascinating. So with, it's a word I hesitate to use because it's so cliche, but like a legendary body of work, Big Face, Evil Mothers. Where do you fit this sort of cosmically, if you will, in that pantheon? Is this you coming back, or dealing with things, or drawing on experience, or a new fucking level tree in a video game? You know, how would you describe this?
Yeah, it's definitely leveling up and picking up where Instant Exorcism left off, my first solo album. This one kind of continues that storyline, but Immoral Emporium basically takes you, whereas Instant Exorcism is very phantasmagorical and has lots of like sort of religious allegory and the supernatural and stream of conscious surrealism, and all the stories of the record exist within this sort of world. And then Immoral Emporium is like we're now that weird parallel universe that we thought we existed in or might exist in is now our reality.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's sort of like where the surreal became real, and like
it's like that one weird Freddy movie where he jumps out of movies, like the 10th one.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And so yes, it's basically we're leveling up and just trying to continue to push, like breaking the fuck out of the mold of what maybe industrial music sounds like, and it's and I think there's a lot of retro-ness going on in like the dark wave revival kind of scene, and I'm pushing the past way the fuck away and trying to make the music that I hope gets emulated 5 and 10 years from now by forcing myself to really work beyond my own comfort zone. So the new stuff, to me, I pushed that button.
Can we get into the nitty gritty? That was like, are you like no more 4/4 dance hits, or like are you just gonna be like, I'm gonna crack open this VST that I don't even know what this does, but we're using it?
I think that the greatest exposure to me happened that just through COVID, that it was very challenging time and trying to make music, and Rona Rouchart, my partner, and I, we had to move, I think we moved 3 times during COVID, and it's like you're trying to get set up and get a groove going, and then the landlord's
even
like,
physical momentum.
You gotta move. Well, fuck.
Right.
Now? So we went through some really
Can I finish the chorus first?
Yeah, right. And so ultimately, it's just became a very real personal record.
Wow,
and
okay.
that kind of goes back to where I was saying the first record was like this, kind of sci-fi dystopian phantasmagoria of a movie that I see in my mind, and then now it's like the reality came crashing in.
Well,
And so I felt very vulnerable in the making of this record, and lyrically I took myself almost through like looking at my journals where I had all this like horrible self-loathing going on, like what the fuck are you doing? Like I'm just like reading this stuff, I'm like, why am I talking to myself so just painfully and mean, and just like thinking about how life is almost like coming to an end and everything I knew may be fractured and lost. So what I just did lyrically and with the is I put my vocals more out front and sang with just a little more personal exposure versus, again, getting back to like the sci-fi dystopia. So really for me it's a much more vulnerable record, and it makes me more nervous to put it out. But at some point, as Sebastian was saying earlier, you kind of have to finally, from the art life, you have to get it out there and just either people like it or they don't. But I feel
with the wind-up like that, holy shit, I'm checking that out. Damn. Like, so you're blending this fantastical world with your really personal real life. Talk about synthesis, man. Like that.
Yeah,
really cool.
It's kind of like the not to be a spoiler alert, but the last song on the record is kind of written from the point of view that I've already passed on, and
Oh, wow.
writing
Okay.
it from the afterlife and trying to portray this message not only back to myself, but to all of my friends and fans and everybody I know that's gone through their own, personal hell during the last couple of years. So I think that I wrote that so I wouldn't have to like self-harm myself or anything. It was just like this song kind of is my own promise to never do anything stupid and just power through.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I'm glad you have that outlet. Like, or we all do. I mean, we're all sort of under that umbrella where it's like we crack open Cubase, so we have a different kind of bad day. You know what I'm saying? While we're talking to you, I want to jump to Rhonda says Space Couch. Leighton, it says, hey, what's up to Resistance Festival? Joey Galvin says, hey, you cursed. Joyce, what's up, Joyce? Says hi. And what's a Curse Mackie live show experience like? Says Joey Galvin on Facebook.
Oh, it's post-coital bliss. Or mid-coital.
There you go.
It's a good fucking time.
Well, and one more thing I want to get to. Let's check out this video for Submerge. Pretty sick. You can see it over there. The left there. So we can check out that video for Submerge on YouTube. I suggest you do because it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that was put together by this beautiful young lady.
Oh, hey, awesome!
Sign collaborated with me and directed that video and did all that awesome editing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask you like what decisions go into the process of matching audio with video, but I suppose it'd be a question for you. We'll get there. But unless you want to talk about like what goes into video production, like do you have an eye for this, like a sort of synesthesia thing, like this audio is triggering this blue image in my mind?
Sometimes.
All right, sometimes is the answer there.
I would say Submerge kind of had like a struggling kind of feel.
Uh-huh.
That's why I used the woman in the water.
Oh, okay.
It's like she's struggling.
All right, awesome. I don't know if you can hear that at home, but the imagery of drowning or struggling, it conveys the struggling nature of the track, available now. Awesome, thank you so much. Space Couch Live, that's what happens, we get audience feedback. It's so dope. Like, don't get me wrong, I love just being in space with Space Dog and Space Wife. Space Wife's actually here. She exists! You thought I was making her up. You thought it was just me and Space Dog. No, Space Wife. I don't know how we're going to get back to space, but that's we may just have to chill out in Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, we could talk to Curse Mackie for a million years, and I hope to someday. We got to get to our other guest of amazing import, ladies and gentlemen, REXX ARKANA. Dude, same deal. Both of you guys are just octopuses in terms of spinning plates. We were joking a light day for you is down to like 10 or 12 plates spinning. But let's get into. Let's start with the Tuesday Night Alternative, because you're FGFC, where I know you from, and everything, but your DJ range is so amazing. You are truly a fan of music, like really just industrial music to be sure, but music and not just like I like to put on when I wash the fucking dishes or whatever, like into it. Like, let's take a little bit of a listen to Tuesday Night Alternative on Mixcloud. This is with REXX.
Style Council, my ever-changing moods to kick off Tuesday Night Alternative. I'm DJ REXX ARKANA. Here's brand new music from Silverwolves.
So I wanted to play that clip because you go from some funky 60s swing into our recent tour partners, Silverwolves. I would love to get sort of maybe your cosmic thoughts on your experience with music. I'm not even sure how to word it because it's such a unique relationship with you.
We talked yesterday at the panel about how if you're going to be involved in this scene or just promoting music in general in any kind of capacity, it really is a labor of love. I know we talked about it. We all feel that. You sometimes feel like you're putting more into it than you'll ever get out of it. You sometimes feel like you're shooting down the well. That's true with college radio, which is really what Tuesday Night Alternative is kind of an homage to. It's where I started in the music business back in 1987 was at college radio. And at that time, both on college radio and in the clubs, Chris remembers because we were there, you were expected, you didn't have you were very lucky if you had a specifically goth industrial night. Texas has always been the place,
right?
As they say. But New York City, LA, notwithstanding, if you're anywhere in those points between, and that's most of America,
right?
You probably had like either a college music night or just strictly alternative night,
right?
And when you went to alternative night, the expectation is that you would hear Depeche Mode, you would hear Susie, you would hear Nitzareb or Front 242. And it was a wide range. It really was everything in the spectrum. And I still try to do that as a DJ, both in the club. That's why I'll play Schweffelgelb, and then I'll play, like something completely
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. I love
mixing together
Schweffelgelb and Lindsay Lohan. I also love mixing Schweffelgelb with Belle Biv DeVoe.
He's the shit.
Just to I like to. When you have that moment where people are they're dancing and they hear something and it's just what the hell is happening, but they can't stop dancing.
It's the best, dude. I love it. We can catch that at correct me if I'm wrong, Mixcloud.com on
Mixcloud, live every Tuesday except when I'm on the road, and then on replay.
As you are for Mechanismus Festival. I fucked up a little bit. When are you each on coming up? Are you on tonight then?
Yeah.
Awesome. And what's that?
Curse is
8
tonight.
o'clock.
8 o'clock tonight for Christmas. And
820 is on Saturday night.
all right, sweet. Oh, so much music. Dude, all right, we gotta talk about this. House Arcana, or however you may moniker it, is becoming a label.
Yeah.
Oh!
After many years, I finally, thank you, decided to put. I have actually the first release is the H2O Greatest Hits.
H2O! We have a speech coach exclusive. We're gonna take a look at the first release on Lee Lagerman is here. Lee Elledge is here.
And there's one for you. That's actually the first release. It's Greatest Hits.
I like yours better.
About GFC 820. And then I'm actually also working on our first compilation, which very honored to have actually both participation from the Gossicles.
Yeah!
And
Liking them out,
Mackey.
right?
So both Gossicles and Chris Mackey will appear on that compilation, and I think a lot of the old school people, when I announce more details about that, I think that'll be exciting.
Some cool. That's going to be a good one. There's a new gospel stuff on that. But where is it called? House Arcana?
Yeah, House Arcana Music.
Okay, House Arcana Music.
So yeah.
Awesome. And I know you were kind of batting around the idea of like a book for a while, like an anthology, and then so what decision led to like we're looking at a label here, and what does like a label even mean in 2022 for like in the Bandcamp world?
Well, it's a good point, and I think with A2O we first of all we haven't written any new music in like 10 years, so that's its own problem.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that.
But it's been so long since we've written music that all of our contracts have expired. So now everything's reverted to us, and when we wanted to, actually when we played Dark Side of the Con, it was really the first inspiration. So many people wanted CDs that we were a little bit surprised at.
Right? What was up with that?
It was a little bit nuts, and my wife, who does an amazing job of managing the merch booth, she's like, you guys have to make CDs.
Yeah.
So I said, great, well then let's make CDs. And naturally we said, let's take all of we have 3 albums and an EP over the years, but we'd never done a hits package or a greatest hits or whatever. So whatever that means. So we put them together, some of more popular tracks. New remix from Suicide Commando, who we'll play with.
Hell yeah.
and Leather Strip, who will be playing tonight.
Hell yeah.
So we're also about to go to Denver and play Fuck Industrial with Suicide Commando and Leather Strip. With
Awesome.
So it just came. It was the time to put something out, and then that spawned the second idea I had, which I approached you about and approached Curse and many other people, and the appetite for me to do that was very high. So it kind of escalated very quickly, as the saying goes. Next thing I knew, I had 2 records playing.
That's amazing. Well, new FGFC A20. Give us the inside dope.
I'd love it. I'd love to see it happen. It's it's the second most common thing we're asked. When are we getting new music? It's difficult. It's you would think that, given the fact that Dracos and I both live in the same borough of New York City, it would be easy for us to get together and work on music, but it surprisingly isn't, both with my schedule and his. And then I think there's been kind of, for the last couple of years, there's been a hard to motivate. It's been sort of harder than ever, maybe, to motivate yourself and to want to be productive. So you do it as catharsis, sometimes because the alternative is worse. But I'd like to see it happen. It isn't. I don't want to put it all on Dracos, but we're aware. Our fans ask us like literally every other day. Every other day, when are we getting new music? Every time I post something to the 820 page, the response is, "Great. When are we getting new music?"
Right.
So hopefully.
Okay. Well, you're certainly not one for information. We haven't even touched Static TV here in the audience tonight.
Thank you.
What are your plans for Static here and going forward?
We're shooting all of the panels. We're shooting all the bands. So we, in the past, have done some sort of package productions where we'll do festival recaps and whatnot. I think those are particularly challenging. I mean, when you do video editing, once you start doing a lot of video editing, you become aware quickly of, first of all, you never have enough B-roll. No matter how much B-roll you shoot, you never have enough. And secondly, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to sync tracks and stuff like that. It's a lot of work. So what I think we're going to do for Mechanismus this time is focus more on putting the band videos together. Everybody really likes to see, the bands that they missed. So rather than trying to do some massive production that's just taking on a lot of work, we can be more flexible and fleet of foot by just being, here's Gossicle's last minute, and do a quick edit that way. And that's, we interviewed Curse, and I mean, Curse remembers, we interviewed him like in October one year, and it was like 2 years, 3 years, and it was still sitting there waiting to be edited. And not for a lack of desire, but just time.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Like, I do Space Couch pretty haphazardly, and it's still a giant time sink. So yeah, the way Static TV. Let me take a step back. Static TV is, of course, your media production outfit. Your product is highly curated with these really cool cut, sort of edited videos, generally focusing on festivals, although don't let me put words in your mouth. Is that right? So, well, that's a great little tee up for something to have both of you. The matter at hand, Mechanismus Festival here in beautiful Seattle on a wonderful day. How are you finding this festival, and what do you think makes this one different than others? And we've all both played festivals often together, lucky enough to hang with you in the past. But
well, I think it's just really exciting to sort of have the setting the ship to sail again and flying from Austin and arriving here, and Ollie and the rest of the Mechanismus crew are like so amazing. And then this, the last show I played in Seattle was at the Crocodile, but it's the old location. It was when I was on tour with My Life with the Thrill Cult.
Never heard of them. That's amazing.
They're gonna get somewhere. And that was in 2019, and then like in 2020 or 2021, somebody was like, I'm like, oh man, I was supposed to play Seattle, and something happened at the Crocodile, and they're like, oh, it closed now, and I was very sad that that venue closed. But then I was informed that they didn't close; they relocated and built this most amazing facility.
It's a
and that
labyrinth.
is probably the coolest thing for me is to
Awesome.
just coming in here and like just this great theater and the room upstairs and having the hotel on the second floor where bands can actually stay. I mean, it really, this has to be one of the premier like 1,000-seat venues in the country
Totally.
at this point, for sure. So it's just seeing people. I don't hate people like the those last guys said they hate people. I love all of you, and it's so great to see everybody, and that's really what it's all about for me. And getting to play this music that I've explained to you is very personal to me. So to get to present that here, and get to play some of these songs for the first time,
man.
is going to be really exciting for me tonight. So I'm very nervous and very excited, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, Chris nailed it, and I know we've talked about this
Yeah.
before. Like one of the, maybe the singular best thing about performing in these festivals. It's always great to be able to get out and get that energy out on stage and get that catharsis and to meet with the fans and everything. All of that notwithstanding, it's really the time I get to spend with you guys. You know, it's just, and when you go, and what I love about festivals in this scene. And I have been, as you say, involved in lots of different styles of music and observe things differently in different scenes. And what I really do like about this one, particularly at festivals, is, you know, when you go out tonight and you're watching the bands, just look in either direction, and what you'll find is all the other bands that are playing the festival watching.
Right.
You know, and Curse, I buy Curse's records. I buy your
So
records.
you do?
You know,
It's
you
very
buy
nice of
my
you.
records. Like, it's this
I don't buy
big-
yours, you just gave it to me.
Well, that one, yes. But, you know, it's like, it is, as much as we, you know, sometimes think and focus, as is sort of human nature, on some of the more difficult, challenging aspects of being in this scene, there is a tremendous amount of love and respect
So
to it
much.
as well.
Definitely.
And I think that you really see it play out when you're at a festival and, you know, you've got Klaus Larson on one side of you, and you've got Jamie Blacker on the other side, and you've got Curse Mackey, and we're all like, who is this band? And they're like, Hemneck, and you're like, who? And you're like, they're great. You know, and it's just everybody consuming each other's art
the greatest.
and being respectful of it in that way.
Absolutely. And the production staff here at the venue is awesome too, so it's really just a great...
Oh yeah, shout out to the sound people, Cracker, Jack. Like, just from like a band perspective, when I hear line check, I'm like, all right, it's gonna be fucking rough, man. We're gonna be that band. It's gonna delay the whole thing. And no, they were on it. Like, really, really cool. You are right. There is so much like I was listening to Leather Strip in like high school doing my dumb geometry proofs. He doesn't need to be watching me sing about quokkas, right? And like I'm playing Vampire the Eternal Struggle back when it was called Jihad, and we're listening to the FGFC 820. You don't need to be buying my stuff. And then there's on those Jihad or Vampire the Eternal Struggle cards are printed "My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult" quotes. Chris Mackey doesn't need to be on my show. Which I have to ask, what's the backstage of a pig face show like? Is it just like a wrestling match?
It's it depends on the year, but it's definitely a show unto itself. And also the great thing with Pigface, and it is such an extended family, much like as we're saying, it's kind of like a happy festival vibe. Martin Atkins just running around, just doing his thing and engaging with fans who come from everywhere. So it's really exciting. There's a lot of nervous energy,
Oh, really?
and then we just know that we're going to go out and crush it. So it's just
But
it's like
you
kind
still
of
get nervous. Is it like, oh shit, that's the guy who grabbed the kills, or it's just like, I hope they like me, even though...
No, well, I get nervous in different ways. I think when with Pigface, it's just like you have that anticipation and nervous energy, and sometimes I don't know. Pigface has strange things happen where the bus almost flips over but doesn't, and or we on the last tour in 2019 we had to go through like 2 snowstorms and almost got like locked in Denver and couldn't get out, and so there's just like this added sense of adventure, just enough danger to make each show like be like, wow, that could have been it. So
Wow.
it gives you just a little bit more passion, and it's just a really fun thing. And for me personally, as a vocalist, Pigface is much like folk music to me at this point, because these songs have been handed down through all the various incarnations of the band. So to get to sing songs that were like, you know, written or originally sang by Ogre or Trent Reznor and on, and the vocalist that have preceded Chris Conley, you know, to get to sing alongside of those guys or sing their words.
Wow, yeah.
It was really a big honor for me because those, as I was coming up as a teenager, those were the guys that I idolized, and to get to be in a band or to be in the bus with Genesis Peorage for a couple of weeks or whatever. Like, Pig Face has provided me a wonderful glimpse behind the curtain of the music industry that I grew up loving, and to allow me to be a prominent part of it. So it's real special.
Super cool, man. Thank you for that. This is I haven't fully sussed out this question. I've been playing with it on Space Couch, but it's a lot of times, and I think, Rex, I might have even asked you this, there's the question, like, what would you go back and tell your younger self? And I've been wanting to modify that to, what would you go back and tell your middle self? Meaning, like, one album out, or like that first taste of, like, oh, this is something. I had a little bit of a piece of something. Like, what do you tell that version of you now?
I think, you know, people who've known me or have watched from a distance for whatever it's worth know that, and we talked about this earlier too, personally, I think we can both relate to this, and maybe even Curse as well, but, you know, we have, our lives have these sort of arcs to them, and, you know, sometimes you're firing upwards at a very rapid rate, and sometimes it's kind of a more long, drawn-out curve, and everyone's curve is different. But there's a lot. I don't like to live with regret in any way, but to be fair, there are certainly some things that I would have done differently in retrospect, not just musically, but I mean, as a man. It's an all-encompassing. For people who, like us, right? You can't separate the two. Like, you can't separate the internal dysfunction from the art, right? One sort of inspires the other, they influence the other. And so, you know, and the first thing that I have to do is keep reminding myself, and this is a daily thing, is not to expect anybody in this scene to be any less broken than I am. And if you start from that perspective, you know, empathy is easy to find. The second thing I would highly recommend is to find yourself a very capable, smart woman and shut up and do what she says. That's not steered me wrong yet.
Shout out.
And in fact, it actually very much got me back on the path. But I think Curse can definitely relate to this as well, because Curse's arc has been the longest of the three of us on stage here. And I first met Curse when Martin hired me to work the first Evil Mothers record. He says, I had this new thing, it's called Evil Mothers, and in fact we were kind of joking that I had like promo pics and bios and stuff that he doesn't even have copies of in my archives when I promoted the record. And he's still here today, and we talked about too how much your music has evolved over that time, how much the scene has changed over that time. But at the heart of it, it's still that same passion that drives you and that makes you want to do it, and that influences really everything, right?
Hell yeah!
I think that
was awesome.
looking back to my former, whatever, previous self, is to view things like you have to look at it as a longer game, and not like completely burn bridges and burn out too fast, and not give up too soon. Like Evil Mothers, we made it really. Like, we were negotiating with major labels, we were doing really cool tours and starting to get opportunities, but we were like completely busted and homeless. And like my co-writer Patrick was having some difficulties, and basically what ended up happening is that we just imploded.
Oh wow!
Like
that's Evil Mothers, or just
Evil Mothers imploded, and then it took a long time to kind of.
You guys know Evil Mothers?
Together. So that was my first band, and where I kind of learned everything. But what we should have done was not implode. We should have been more not at odds with each other, and just been very empathetic and supportive, and been like, well, we could, you know, I don't know why we didn't just take a 2-year break and then resume and do stuff.
I think it's hard. I think it was hard. I don't want to be like, well, back in the day, but it definitely was the sense of competition that still exists today was definitely there. I think more amplified. And I think that we exist in a very collaborative environment now today. Like, I can hit up Curse and be like, hey, Curse, do you want to be on my compilation? And he's like, sure. I can be like,
Right.
Ryan, you want to be on my compilation? I'm fortunate in that way, and
Totally.
and I'm grateful. But there is a sense of competition. Like, as much as I love Curse and I love Gonsickles, like,
Right.
I want to play after you, right? And there is that, and it's hard when you're young to know what the right balance.
God
is.
damn it! You just nailed it. Fuck. It's not a good answer, but that's it.
It's hard when you're young to know like how much of a dick to be.
That's the bumper sticker right there.
And when you get, and I think when you get older, like now, I just know I can't keep up, and
Sure.
I know it, and so I don't try to. I just try to. It's weird. It's like I've almost taken back like ownership of the art that I create.
Yes.
I really am now doing it for me. Whereas I think there's a period there when you're first catching on, and we were fortunate to become popular. Our second record actually was our biggest. So that was really like the apex. And I wish I had treated certain situations and certain people differently in those times. But that's a sort of wisdom that only comes now at
Right.
53. Like I didn't have it at 33.
Right. Yeah. Like.
That's right. Be nice, be a good person. Be courteous, say thank you.
Yeah, they say, and it's true.
Right.
Be nice because you're going to meet the same people on the way down that you see on the way up, right? So, like, if you're, and they talked about it yesterday about promoters. You have bands that in your youth.
Right.
My Life with the Thrill Kill Call is a perfect example. Like the first time I saw them, I think there was like 20. It was a 2,500 person venue, something like that. They wouldn't play a 2,500 person venue today. It's changed so much. There maybe not even is a 2,500 person venue to get at, or Live Nation makes that impossible. So much has changed, but what we're still both doing it. I think because we don't know any other way to be.
That's where for me, the just putting out a record under my own name was kind of like, I'm like, why did I take so long to do this after spending so much time in Evil Mothers and Pigface and with My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, which are all very big moving parts with a lot of people and a lot of components to make it all happen. So when I just boiled it all down to just me and a microphone and my keyboards, it became like this, like starting over. Like to me, I feel as young about my music
Really?
as I ever have.
This upcoming album, God damn it, give me the name of it.
The new one is Immoral Emporium, and the previous was Instant Exorcism.
Immoral Emporium coming out. Where should we go for that?
Well, that'll be on Negative Gain
Okay.
in the U.S. and Young and Cold in Europe. So, but Bandcamp is the easy way.
All right,
or
check it out.
just CurseMackey.com will get you everywhere you really need to go.
CurseMackey.com coming up soon. What we're learning now is something of a I don't want to say a reset because you're Curse Mac. You're not coming at it from nothing, but like a like a Netflix reboot. We're getting the dark, gritty Curse Mac. Awesome.
That's right.
We are Space Couch is all about precision timing because if not, we get out of orbit and like we lose our oxygen supply and they'll fucking die. So we're gonna leave we're gonna punch out in just a little bit to the next panel. Oh no, doors I think are at 3 or something like that, right? So we're gonna wrap it up. We sometimes design the video game. I'm gonna say the video game for you guys, the combined Curse Mackey REXX ARKANA video game. It's Contra, right? So it's you and Dracos, but if you punch in the code, you get 30 guys and they're all members of Pigface. So okay, we'll do that. I absolutely love your answer of I don't know how much of a dick to be because I remember being like 26 and that first Gospels album comes out and it was almost like an onus on me, like I'm not this person but I should get into a fight about band order, like I feel like that's my job, and then like I need to take a shower. I remember that feeling, this is not worth it, like why?
It really, not when it's like no one is going to put their kids through college selling T-shirts to the same
right, and it's like
so once you recognize that and you recognize and you can sort of check yourself for real,
right,
it's so much more liberating.
And to whom? The same 10 dudes in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in my case? Like
and here's the other thing, and I think this is also super important and applies generally, not just a, as artists trying to succeed or labels trying
Yeah.
to launch or, podcasts and YouTube channels and maybe you're doing all of them. We spend so much time as humans kind of looking at the people who are ahead of us in line and cursing them, maybe resenting, maybe being happy for them. Come on, really? But being jealous, whatever it is, we're looking at everybody who is ahead of us. And sometimes you just have to turn around and look the other direction and think about how many people would swap places with you in a second and then really appreciate it, be grateful for that.
Oh, man.
It's not in our instinct, so you have to really work at it. It's in my instinct to be self-deprecating, and I'm Catholic, so Blaine is like my middle name. But you have to detach from that, I think, especially when you put art out into the world, you make yourself very vulnerable.
Well,
and when you're someone who already might be sensitive, that isn't necessarily the best thing to do, and it can be a challenge. But again, I think we both do it for the same reason, because it's how we release that all that negativity and
exposing that.
There's also, I think you learn over time that there are those ahead of you and those coming up, and we're all in this world, but ultimately we're in it together. And I think I've realized that, and I do still sometimes have that, like, no, I'm not playing before them.
Sure.
Set, but also in the grand scheme of things, I really think if everybody get to know people and support each other, that there's really enough wealth in the world and within the scene for us all to do well and to build each other up.
Well
And everybody can just keep moving the positive direction. And those that fall off, some people don't play the long game, and they'll end things for themselves that way. But for everybody else, getting back to just being cool and working well together, that's where your longevity will come from.
Absolutely.
I want to jump in. We'll do it. I'm tempted to close on that because I was like both of you super positive answer. But Ron DeBoe Bastard on Facebook asked, I'd love to know their thoughts on where the state of industrial, say, 10 years from now. Can you give me the 140 character Twitter version of where you think industrial is going to be in 10 years?
I mean, it's hard to say, because if you had asked me this 10 years ago, I wouldn't think
Totally,
that
right.
we would be obsessed with like Bill Lee demo tape. We spent so many years trying to move towards production, and now I feel like anything that sounds too slick is immediate.
Right? Like, I drop kick a motherfucker for a Prince demo.
It's so weird. So, I mean, you want to tell people, like, 8 bits was not desirable. Like, we didn't want it to be so limited. Like, it was forced to be that way. And so, I'm not a VST versus analog guy. Like, I mean, however you get there.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to know where we're headed
Okay.
at this point.
Dig it. Any thoughts, Chris?
Where will it be in 10 years? It's a big forgotten piece of rubble.
Much like an asteroid, much like space. This is Brian for Space Couch, for REXX, for FGATO, for Static TV, for the upcoming House Arcana label. Check out the 2 albums. 2! He's starting a label with 2 albums. Who does that? Rock stars. That's who. We want to go to housearcana.com for all that.
Yeah, housearcana.com.
Tuesday night mix alternative. Anything else you wanted to plug, sir?
No.
You're on Saturday night.
Saturday night, we're here
Okay.
Saturday night. I do have some Static TV t-shirts, though, that I'll hand out.
Giveaways here on Space Couch. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Hell yeah. And, ladies and gentlemen, from everything, with a new album coming out shortly, Chris Mackey, give any closing thoughts for us here on Space Couch?
Thanks for taking me for a ride around these beautiful planets. It's good to be here.
Oh.
Thank you all for coming.
Check out Chris tonight on the first stage. Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for divinity and interface with the couch in space. This is Space Couch. Out. Bye. Thank you, everybody. We did it! Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah. We'll just, credits go, I'm going to talk over the credits because they're Patreon supporters and they pay money. So I feel obligated to shout out to Brimley, Ray Calderon, fly ahead of Baton Rouge, Planet Damage from Hungary. That guy rules. You want to check out these Static TV shirts. It's like I was tossing on the island for the dopest episode of Space Couch ever. Thank you all so much. All right, we finished right on time. We're going to go upstairs and check out some beautiful